when I think of Transformers, I think of my favorite episodes. When I think of Optimus Prime, I think about the episodes in which made me fall in love with him in the first place. So right off the bat, of course, you got more than meets the eye. He's got some great fights with Megatron. Think about on top of the dam. That's an epic scene. They've added so many add-ons into the toys and just so much to the lore from that scene alone. Not to mention it's some other fights in the episodes or leading up to it, which quality wise is not up to the same quality as say the movie, but at the time when it first came out, it was epic, and you had to absolutely love those fights. And then it started going down the road. Even though he lost, he took on all of the Dinobots, right? And that's how Grimlock earned respect for Prime, just because Prime took on all of them and he wouldn't give up. And that's what made Grimlock first respect Prime. And it also was adding our respect for Prime at the same time. Just on the category of Prime taking defeats, which is the way all the movies seem to go and some of the lore afterwards. Not the greatest episode in the entire world, but Steel City when Prime becomes an alligator, like that memory is seared in my head. And honestly, the alligator was super cool. And I don't understand why Fans Toys has not taken Chomp and turned him into an Optimus Prime alligator, because honestly, I would love that. I do not have the skill to be the type of guys that customize them and stuff like that. That is not me. But I would love to have Chomp and Optimus Prime colors, just as a throwback to that episode. Not to mention, my favorite episode of all time is definitely War Dawn. I know I said I don't like Optimus Prime learning a lesson. He did learn a little bit of a lesson, but that also is more about the aerial bots learning a lesson. And Prime and the aerial bots realize, as fancy as Megatron was, with all the strength and the ability to fly and all of that, that's not what was important if they were evil. Prime learned his lesson. The aerial bots learned their lesson. I absolutely adored that episode. It's one of my all-time favorites. I also love the episode where Prime and Alita 1 are basically introduced as a couple. That was absolutely fantastic. I enjoyed that episode a ton, kind of showing that it's not all like emotionless and stuff like that. It did show that side of Prime. Again, it wasn't necessarily lesson learning and stuff like that. That was already there. He was just letting it out. So I know some people might take that as, well, he was learning a lesson. No, he was just showing that he had that soft side. He thought Alita was dead. And it was neat to see that he had that compassionate side and someone that he really cared about. You go down farther, actually, probably in reverse, actually. The Ultimate Weapon, I think it was maybe called, or Doomsday, Ultimate Doom. I can't remember the exact name of the episode, where Prime had to basically choose to hit the button that brought Cybertron to Earth and almost destroyed Earth, and then Prime had to figure a way to save the Earth. Just because the epic scale of Cybertron coming in, the Earth almost being absolutely destroyed, and Prime having to figure it out. That one is also one of my all-time favorite episodes. There's other cool episodes where Prime has his moments, but those are some of the ones that stick out in my head. The complete anticipation of Prime returning. I was so excited. I'm going to tell you, in my area, I don't remember seeing the zombie episode. I think they had maybe avoided airing it, and they started advertising the return of Optimus Prime all week long, and then they aired Prime being a zombie. And I remember as a kid being like, you've been teasing me all week that he's coming back, and you just brought him back to kill him again? Like, that just killed me. That being said, at the very end, it did come up with a little thing saying Prime will return, and they did an advertisement for the next day, and I was like, okay. So obviously the return of Optimus Prime, I was super excited for. Not one of my favorite episodes, but the excitement and anticipation of that was super happy. So that made me feel a little bit complete when he came back as a child. And honestly, then to go into Rebirth, and I know I hear some negativity about Rebirth and stuff like that. I wish they had kept it to the 5 episodes that it was originally supposed to be and not trimmed it down. But to see Prime with all the newer Transformers and some of the new ones that were coming out, I was stoked. I was so happy. And I would have been 9 or 10 by the time that came out. And we didn't have the same way of knowing things like social media, this, that, whatever else. So I didn't know it was canceled. And getting all these brand new toys, basically shown to you in the commercials and in the rebirth, and even at the end of um, Prime, when he's renaming Bumblebee and all the other ones. Like, there was so much exciting stuff kind of happening, even though honestly Bumblebee was better off as Bumblebee than Goldbug, but another story. I was absolutely devastated when the next day after the rebirth that it started over again on the very first episode, and I'm like, no. And then it took a little while to realize it was over. So that was a little bit saddening because it was the most excitement I had had having Prime back. I was so excited for more episodes. I wanted more episodes. I couldn't wait for more episodes. And then it was over. So that was a little shattering of the heart, to finally get my hero back. And then technically 4 and a bit episodes later, it was all over. So that was a little heartbreaking, but got Prime back. So even though not necessarily the best episodes, they stand out to me huge just because I finally had Prime back. Anyways, what are your favorite episodes? And are some of them the same? Are some of them different? What episodes did you look forward to seeing Prime in, or did Prime make an impact in your life?